All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August 5th. Dear Lord, where's the summer going? 7 o'clock meeting of the Select Board to be joined at 7:45 with our Finance and Capital Planning committees. In light of COVID-19, we are still continuing to meet virtually. Let's see, call to order at 7:01. And as an announcement, remember that meetings of the Berlin Select Board are generally recorded for transmission on both the Berlin Cable Television Access Channel and YouTube. Your voice, image, and or phone number may be recorded. All right, so first item up, approval of minutes for July 26, 2021. Comments, questions?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve. They look good.
And a second, Mr. Hawkins?
Yes, there is. Yep.
All right, motion and a second, no discussion. Take a vote. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
E5.
All right, down one. Margaret, any correspondence?
Nothing that I will not otherwise address in my TA report.
Excellent. Moving down to general public comment, we have June, Matt, and Chief Galvin in the audience. Comments? All right, seeing none. I know that Chief is on at 10 o'clock. Do we, at 10 o'clock, hello. At 7:10, do we bring him up now, Margaret, or do you want to whiz in with your TA report?
It's 7:02, and Chief is here already?
I see him in the audience.
Okay, I would suggest bringing Chief up. You can start with that.
Mary, could you please promote him?
Hey. Come over here and lay down. Lay down.
There he is.
Hey, it was just spinning for a minute there.
All right, Chief, you're up.
Long time no see. I think I was here last meeting. Or, July, we were a little bit busier, a little bit more proactive with some things. We did have 5 cases involving criminal charges, 750 overall cases, 1 arrest. Motor vehicle crashes are still up there. We had 18 motor vehicle crashes. 3 of them were hit and runs. And then 138 motor vehicle stops with 128 citations. Just one thing I wanted to note on that, that's about 3 times the citations of last month. We put a new initiative in place mid-month for traffic enforcement. And I think we're going to see a huge increase in those numbers next month as well. Just looking this morning, I think we were already at 70 stops, 9 days or eight and a half days into the month. We're trying to push a little bit harder on traffic and see if that can make a difference in some of our crashes. Unfortunately, with the way this month has started, I don't know if it will, but we'll see where that goes. With some of those stops, we've really been addressing Highland Street and some of the concerns the neighbors have had there with the construction project and the trucks. And we've gotten quite a bit of positive response from there. And also some of the trucking issues that we've been dealing with Maplewood that have been pretty quiet for a while. Reared its head a little bit today, but overall, we've been doing a pretty good job, I think, and the signage that Dave Smith had put up is helping a lot in that area. I did mention that 3 of the crashes were hit and run. With hit and run crashes, success rate of finding the suspect afterwards has been difficult. All 3 hit and runs we had this month, the operator of the vehicle and the suspect vehicles were located, and it all resulted in criminal charges. It was really, it was good to see. One of them happened on 62 near 495, someone getting off the highway, swiped somebody else and just took right off. Just through some digging, one of the officers, they were able to locate that vehicle in Clinton. One just recently that happened, there was a hit and run that the license plate actually got lodged in the other vehicle. So we got a little bit it's always nice when luck is a little bit on your side. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I started to tell you about an incident we'd had in July. July 23rd, we were up at the old Shiro restaurant. Officers working the evening shift got a 911 call of someone reporting someone screaming for help. So actually, when they get up there, they found a gentleman on the ground that was unresponsive, still alive. He was eventually transported to the hospital with what appeared to be a drug overdose. The area around was checked because we didn't believe that this was the person that was screaming for help. So that they checked the area outside the building. They did a protective sweep inside. When they did that protective sweep, they found a lot of things. One, they did find another person who was in the building, and she was escorted outside. There were numerous fuel cans of different types of fuels that were found inside, some white powder on a countertop, and also there was a burning smell. As a result, the fire department was actually called back to the scene to investigate the burning. And based on what the firefighters saw when they came in, Chief Clark took a further step and actually initiated a hazmat response. So a state hazardous materials response team from the Department of Fire Services came, and it was their lowest level response. It's a tier 1 response. So they sent a crew of 5 in their response vehicle out. So they suited up to go and investigate. We kind of had an indication that we thought with the fuel containers and what was in there, that could have been set up like a drug lab. Fortunately, that's not what we found. Unfortunately, what we did find is they tested the powder substance that was in there, and that was actually found to be fentanyl, which is a concern, that's in town, that it was, whether it was there for use or resale, it wasn't a huge quantity, but it could have been cut with other substances to make it a saleable quantity. So there's an ongoing investigation of that. As a result, there was an arrest made that night. Actually, the party that was still in the home was charged with the possession of the fentanyl. They also had 3 outstanding arrest warrants from other drug-related issues. And there'll be criminal charges sought against the individual that's transported to the hospital. But another interesting issue was there was a large amount of cash that was seized from that individual that was taken to the hospital. He had in his possession over $22,000 in cash. So we've turned that money over to the district attorney's office, and they seem to believe that they are going to go through an asset forfeiture process, which would then actually return half of that money to the town. So if it's determined to be an asset from a drug operation, it would be returned to the town. And we have a seizure account already that would go in, and that could be used to fund things for investigative purposes and equipment and things like that. So it was not the type of incident we want to have or we want to see, but we've kind of always known that we're not immune to the drugs that we've seen that have led to overdoses and the problems in the area. But it's something that kicked off here just a couple of weeks ago, and something that we need to keep an eye on. We're fortunate that we've been participating in a regional drug task force. So, not only have we seen this here now in Berlin, it's in other places. Officers went out just to assist with a search warrant the other day in Lancaster, and they've done them in Clinton. So unfortunately, these types of drugs are around here. And we're going to continue to do what we can when we receive the information to investigate them. So we also, just to kind of shift back to maybe more positive things. July began the new police certification requirements here in the Commonwealth. So leading up to July, officers were making sure that we were making sure that officers completed a lot of mandatory training. So all of our officers have completed the necessary training to be certified in Massachusetts under police reform. There's going to be a continued process and additional training as we move forward. A lot of which, as I've said, are still unanswered questions. We're still waiting for the final answers. So we'll just kind of take that as it comes and make sure that the officers have the training as it becomes available. One thing I didn't touch on in the beginning was body cameras, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago as well. So the training is ongoing. About half of our officers are completely trained and in the utilization of the cameras. They're doing some testing. We've had a few incidents that have been videotaped and a couple of stops just for training purposes. So I'm hoping, I'm trying not to do it on overtime. I'm trying to meet individually with 2 or 3 officers at a time on shift. So I have to come in early this week and next week to catch a couple of the midnight officers. And then we'll at least have all the full-time officers done, and then we'll catch the rest of the part-timers. But my goal is by next week to have the cameras running at all times. And I'll let Janet, the item, know. We'll do a little Facebook push to let people know that that the cameras are out there, and we're going to, we'll be recording what our officers are doing. I think that's about it.
So Chris, Scott, any questions?
I can't think of anything offhand.
Mr. Hawkins?
The grave markers,
Mhm.
I have not received, so they're at the foundry is producing them. The ones I ordered actually have like Berlin right in them, right, as part of the stamp. So they have not been shipped yet. And
Okay.
it's been about a week since I got an update. So let me just look, see if it says anything in here in my email. And yeah, the last update was I got that they were in production. So I have not received anything yet.
good. Thank you.
Well, what would be a meeting without Peg questions? All right, so Chief, you hit on the body camera training and who's done and who's left to be done. So does that information get reviewed by you or only reviewed when it's necessary? How long is it kept for, type of thing?
So right now, everything we have will be kept for about 180 days. We're not going to be randomly reviewing videos. We'll review videos based on complaints. We'll review videos for court or other if they're needed for cases. But there is in our policy the ability to review for training purposes. So there'll be some review, especially early on as the cameras are getting rolled out and used, that we'll do some random reviews just to make sure and see if officers need any additional training in the use of the cameras. But it's not going to be a constant ongoing review process of the videos. It's going to kind of be an archive of what we have. So I said a minimum of 180 days. So that the system allows us to set parameters for the videos and how long that they'll be retained. A lot of that is going to play out in how much space we have. So we're going to kind of see as we go. But anything that is going to result in some type of a criminal case will be kept. The way the settings are is at least a year. And like I said, everything else is the minimum required that we have a setting for is 180 days. If we have something or we start to run into data issues, in the short term, we will look at revising those, and we'd work with the district attorney's office to set the minimums to what works for them for prosecutions.
Knowing that obviously speeding in traffic is probably high on everybody's mind. At the transfer station on Saturday, a couple residents came up and voiced their concern about how quickly people are zipping through the center of town, especially during lunch. People are very nervous to try and cross to get over to the general store, to get something to eat or to get out of the general store, to get to their car parked on the other side of the road. So they asked what is going to be done about that and what can be done.
So we've ramped up traffic enforcement now. And I guess on a larger scale, and these are conversations Margaret and I have had and others have had about the Route 62 as a corridor and what can be done to control some of the traffic overall on Route 62. I've actually had a conversation today with a Pleasant Street resident about some of those things, because some of it can be roadway construction type projects. The other things is, and I don't know where highway stands with installation of the new crossing beacons, which will be button activated. I'm guessing where they have staffing issues and are, with the rain and trying to keep up with mowing lawns, haven't had time to do some of those additional projects. But once they are able to install those beacons, that'll at least give a button activated response at crosswalks to assist residents and anyone that wants to go to the general store or the bank or whatever it may be to cross. So some of it is just what we're doing and increasing enforcement, and others are bigger conversations about what the future of the center of town is going to look like and what traffic patterns are going to look like on Route 62. I was in town Sunday and just seeing the amount of traffic Sunday afternoon that was diverting off of 495 and then going out the other way, the amount that was actually diverting off of 290 to cut through town. We're in some ways we're fighting a losing battle. I'm hoping that with some of this additional COVID money coming, that maybe the state is going to pick up on these projects and these construction projects that they had in the works to at least address 290 at 495 South. Nothing is really in the works to address 290 East at 495 yet.
And then one final question. I noticed in your report, the animal control report was not there. Are we going
Yeah.
to start getting this on a monthly basis?
Yeah, I would have had it. I normally meet with her, and what I've been trying to do is meet with her the Friday before I come in front of the board. I was away last Thursday and Friday, so I didn't have an opportunity to meet with her. So I actually talked to Margaret about that today. So I'll meet with her the end of this week, and then I'll have it to forward to you.
Okay. All right. Hey, when you talked to Jan about the stuff with the body cameras, can you throw in the certification process that you guys are doing? I think it would be a nice touch to, show the town how seriously the Berlin police take, all the stuff that's going on in their commitment to training and, taking care of its residents.
Absolutely. I actually had an interesting conversation yesterday, right? Yesterday, with a reporter from the Globe. They're doing a story on hiring and retention and training for law enforcement. And so there should be an article that comes out, not anytime soon. He's shadowing one of the police academies, but that'll just have some good information for people. Unfortunately, it's the Globe, so it's not as local as the item, but that information is getting out there.
Okay. Yeah, Jan and Ken do a great job of covering town things. I just think that would be a really nice thing for the people to see how seriously. Berlin Police
I'll
takes
have
it.
I'm in contact with Jan as often as something comes up, so I'll reach out and I'll let her know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've exhausted my Peg's list of questions. Any last thoughts? Scott, Chris, Margaret?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Galvin, you are good to go. Thank
All
you
right,
for
have a good
showing
night.
up. You betcha. All right, look at that. 12 minutes ahead of schedule. So, Mrs. Nadowitz, you want to go?
I can
Do
do
your
it.
town administrator
Yeah.
report?
There's a heck of a lot going on, but I could squeeze it in.
Okay.
12 minutes. All right, first of all, we have reinstated a mask mandate in town, in common areas of town buildings and in shared town vehicles. So town vehicles that are occupied by 2 or more people at a time. This is because we have learned of incidents of new COVID cases in Berlin and around the region. Everyone, I'm sure at this point, has heard about the Delta variant that is making its way around the country and around the world. I just want to speak to this. This is not our first rodeo, so to speak. Last spring in 2020, we were all learning on the fly. This time, we know what COVID can do. We know of the potential risks, and we want to try to mitigate those risks. And that's one of the reasons why I've reinstated the mask mandate in town buildings. The other reason is because for those of us who are vaccinated, we can still contract COVID. We may be asymptomatic, but we can still spread COVID. And really, out of consideration of one another, I think this measure is very important at the moment. Even if it's not long lasting, we do have to be thinking about each other and each other's safety. So that's why I've done that. And for those people who feel a little put out or inconvenienced by the mask mandate, bear with us. It's not going to be forever. We just want to care for one another. Moving down, I've given in my report tonight, I've given updates on vaccine rates in the town of Berlin. Thank you to the Board of Health for providing this data. They're providing it on a regular basis. You can see in the various age groups, we are doing extremely well. There's still more to be done, but we're doing really well so far. Under HR and benefits, Highway and Facilities Department. So as you know, as board knows, no resumes were received in response to the reposting of the ad. The board also is aware that Highway Foreman Jim Spinney is temporarily overseeing the department, assisted by Highway employee Fred Cummings. Amy Grenier from our accounting office has stepped up temporarily to assist the department with particularly financial duties, payroll, bills, purchasing, and things like that. So she was able to give 5 hours a week. So she's stepping in to help. we do have to have a discussion and decisions made regarding the position vacancy and interim staffing actions. If we have to do this soon in consultation with the board personnel committee and myself, because we do need to make a decision. Very, very hard to hire a fully qualified person to take on this position. But it's absolutely critical that we have a discussion about next steps for the sustainability of the department. 1870 Town Hall Manager Lisa Smith has submitted her resignation effective August 12th. I'm exploring different ways that we might be able to sustainably backfill that position. That position is one that, you know, has seen some turnover. It's very, the needs there are very sporadic, especially in light of COVID. So it'd be nice to start thinking about backfilling that position in a way that it makes sense, keeps the building running for specific purposes, and doesn't result in an underutilized building. The temporary conservation agent position, the board approved the job description on that. Once personnel meets this Wednesday night to review the job advertisement and approve an hourly rate, we will immediately post that position vacancy. And again, that is only an FY22 position. As you know, we've been having Divisional Local Services Technical Assistance Bureau working with us on a town financial management review. They had a break in July where their team alternated taking vacation. So they had a brief break in July. But I spoke with Tara, the lead on this project, on Friday. They've requested additional documentation, and they have a few more interviews to conduct as part of the project. So we're moving forward on that. The 23 Linden parking lot resurfacing project, we have a construction site visit tomorrow, August 10th. The project, I mean, preliminarily is anticipated to take 3 weeks, but the contractor has said that they can start the week of August 23rd. However, there is going to be a notice of intent required to be submitted with Conservation Commission. And an order of conditions is going to have to be issued before the project can start. I've notified the contractor of this already, so we're going to be discussing that tomorrow, in addition to lots of other things. I put an updated or revised TA report in your folder this afternoon because I realized that one of the areas here referenced the procurement section of my report for Bullard House information, and I didn't put it in. So I wanted to report that the Bullard House Sill Work Project RFQ was issued last week. It's available to any interested vendors. They need to email selectmen@townofberlin.com or me, townadmin@townofberlin.com, if they'd like to receive the RFQ packet. This is the request for quotes because of the anticipated cost threshold for the work. So any interested vendors who refer to the town's, the state's combis website or central register will be able to look at the project notice and request an RFQ packet from us. MassDOT shared streets and spaces. I fully intended to close this out in July, but MassDOT has once again urged us to spend the remaining funds. I've corrected the balance in my report. It did say 152326. The correct balance is 2,781.82. I do have some thoughts for that. We had talked gazebo in the center before, and maybe we could contribute to some of that, and I'm waiting to hear back. I have other options. I have other thoughts in case similar to that, in case that doesn't work out. So the relocation of the town offices is getting closer to completion. The copier is now in the main hallway here on the second floor, and the locking mailboxes will be installed in that same area once highway and facilities is available to do that. So I'm just adding that project to their list. Jim is keeping a list on projects for them. I've talked with our energy consultant, Beth Greenblatt, about not only the meta grant, which we've decided to kind of turn back and focus our efforts on the highway building itself. It's going to help streamline the work we do to get out or to prepare an RFP for that project. But I also talked with her and Molly Reed about Zero Point Energy's solar project. Zero Point Energy has an appeal pending at the Appellate Tax Board. And they are, I think they are actively advocating for DOR to frame their guidance in a way that leans toward the solar developers. I don't see DOR doing that, but I've authorized Molly to speak with our town council regarding the ZPE appeal to make sure that the town is able to get the funds that is anticipating from that solar project, whether it's by property, personal property taxes, real estate taxes, or a pilot agreement. Chris Keefe and I are working with town council regarding the River Bridge Development Agreement and modifications. We will have a follow-up meeting with town council in the next, my hope is within the next 2 weeks. And finally, I am trying to work to put together a forum for residents, neighborhood abutters of 19 Carter, so that they can express their concerns, comments, and ideas regarding 19 Carter's outdoor music events. I also have some ideas that I'd like to share with 19 Carter's board and their executive director about coordinating with the town in the future, in summers, to do summer concert series, maybe at the South Commons. So anyway, lots of ideas, lots of things going on. Last thing I have is that late today, we got a notice from Administration and Finance, the Department of Revenue, to let us know that the first 50% of the county reallocation of our ARPA funds is expected to be distributed on or about August 16th. The amount that Berlin will receive on that first 50% is $314,666. The administrative finance team is going to be meeting on the 17th, and this is going to be part of our discussion so we can bring information forward to the board and FinCom. Thank you.
Look at you, 2 minutes to spare.
Woo.
One quick question. Margaret, you had talked about a joint meeting with personnel for the staffing. Do you have any idea in mind? I mean,
I haven't had a chance to
September?
talk with, I haven't had a chance to talk with personnel yet. They haven't met since the panel met last. So I do want to talk with personnel on
Okay.
Wednesday night and get their thoughts on how we move forward here in kind of a coordinated way.
Okay. All right. Scott, Chris, any questions?
The cemetery burials contract. I don't think it doesn't to me feel like we're going to have the highway situation resolved in 3 weeks.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if that's worthy of it because it's extended now just the end of August. If we should already be thinking this is September or
So-
October.
The cemetery
Extension.
commission met, or 2 members of the cemetery commission met this morning. I attended their meeting. And their purpose for meeting this morning was to outline the scope of the, outline the general duties for the cemetery superintendent position.
Yep.
As we know, this has to be a contracted position this fiscal year because there aren't any wage appropriations for the position. So they did outline that. I'm going to bring this scope to the personnel committee just for their reference. And what they're intending or what they've asked is that this scope of duties be included with the burials, that burials only scope, to put it together in a cemetery superintendent contract. So that's, I think that's what we're intending, that's what they're intending to do with the contract.
So Margaret, would there be 2 hourly amounts, one for burials / cremations and one for superintendent, or just one joint, one to encompass?
I think that they're looking for a rate, an hourly rate for the cemetery superintendent general duties and then another rate for the burials. So I'm gonna get clarification from the Cemetery Commission on that. But they did have a brief discussion on that this morning, so I just want to be sure I am clear on what they're looking for.
Awesome, thank you.
So, yeah, so I think to your question, I believe that they're looking at 2 different rates.
Okay. Scott, you good?
Yep. Do we also know anything more about potential special election for school board?
Absolutely no new information on that.
Okay.
None. We have it's not a site visit. It's, I'm going to be attending Berlin Memorial School for a presentation on their facilities assessment. I could ask the administration then just if there's any update whatsoever from the school committee.
I think I was invited to attend that also.
All right, well, we passed 7:30, we have 7:31, and we do have an appointment with Mr. Munter. Oh God, where'd my agenda go? If we could promote Ed up to panelist, please. There he is. Hello, Ed Munter. He's on mute.
Unmute.
Sorry.
There you go.
There you are. All right,
How's that? No video, sorry.
That's okay.
that's okay. We'd rather hear you speak, Ed. That's not a problem.
All right.
Margaret, do you want me to go ahead and
Yes.
read the formal for the meeting? All right, Chris, do you have it up on screen or do you want me to read it?
Here you go.
Me? You want me to read it?
If you have it up, yeah.
All I have is the agenda. I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Oh, the notice, the
there-
posted notice?
If you don't have it, I have it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so let me put it over here so it looks like I'm looking at you. So Town of Berlin Select Board, Town of Berlin, Massachusetts Public Hearing. Pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 138 of the Mass General Laws, an amended and application has been made. And information is given for approval of a new retail section 15 packaged goods store license to expose, keep for sale, and to sell wine and malt beverages not to be drunk on the premises. Applicant Berlin General Store, Inc., Edward M. Munter, owner/local liquor license manager applicant. The proposed license premise are described as follows. The existing local retail store and restaurant located on the ground floor of the east part of the building located at 19 Central Route 62, Berlin, Mass, consisting of 2,400 square feet with 2 combination entrance and exit doors. Proposed weekly hours for beer and wine sales are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. if staffing permits, Monday through Saturday, and noon to 5 p.m. on Sunday. The hearing on the above application will be held virtually on Monday, August 9th, 2021 at 7:30 on our platform. Select Board, Margaret Stone, R. Scott Hawkins, and Christine Keefe. So what I'd like to do is ask for a motion to continue the meeting, continue the hearing rather, until August 23rd at 7:45 to let enough time for notice, for Ed to give to notice to abutters, churches, and schools within the 500-foot range.
And this is for the beer and wine license, correct?
That is correct.
Correct.
Because the added notice is not needed for the entertainment license.
For the
Right.
what license, Scott?
Entertainment.
The entertainment.
no.
license.
No, we can chat about that one. Just
So-
wanted to see if there was a motion to,
I will make the motion to postpone, to continue the hearing to the August 23rd for the beer and wine sales.
Second,
all right. So at that time, the board will entertain questions from each other and also entertain questions from the public. So thank you, appreciate that. So we have a motion and a second. Any additional comments, questions? Chris, Scott, Margaret? Ed? Ed, don't forget Ed. All right. We all have a shaking of the head no, so let's go for a roll call vote for this. Stone, aye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keefe, aye.
All right, so we have a 3-0 vote to continue your meeting, Ed, till August 23rd at 7:45. But now that we have that out of the way, can we talk about the entertainment license for Ed?
Yes.
Scott, Chris, Margaret, comments, questions, Ed?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that all of the necessary reviewers had feedback and it was positive and no problem.
I didn't
Correct?
see that. Yeah.
Was there any feedback from any department heads or anything? Board of Health, anything like that? I guess not, maybe not.
Mary, Mary, well, it's in the folder, actually, I should. Feedback, I believe that all local reviewers provided feedback on the entertainment license. So the entertainment license, I believe, is all set.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure ever since I read the folder, which was this weekend, there wasn't anything new. So yeah, I would make a motion to approve the entertainment license.
I would second.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. No comments, questions? Nope. Put it to a vote. Stone eye. Oh, wait a minute, Mary?
You just want to note the hours, which are in the agenda. And the purpose, so it's not live entertainment, it's
It's
at
a
the applicant's own
television.
request, it's for showing, it's like, they call it like non-live entertainment. Radio and television incidental just for customers to see, it's not like it's a draw of a live performance. And it's radio and television, news and sports type regular, programming you'd have just playing in the background.
And the hours on the license for the weekly entertainment license is 6 a.m.
Monday
to
through
8 p.m.
Saturday,
Monday
6
through
a-
Saturday, and then Sundays, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay.
Got it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary, for that catch. I appreciate it. All right. So given that additional information, are there any comments, questions, thoughts? I see no. All right. So put it to a vote. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. 3-0. Congratulations, Ed. You got your entertainment license. Woo.
Yay.
Yay.
First TV in the general store.
There you go. Yeah, but see, the question is, Ed, who has the remote?
Yeah, exactly. It's locked up in the safe.
It's smart. All right. Ed, before we let you go, I mean, are there any questions that you need from us that the four of us, five with Mary can help answer for you?
No, I think we're in good shape. I'll do the additional letters, the repeat letters for the other 20, the original 21 abutters again, just to make sure everybody's got one. I'm fine with that. I don't know how we missed a couple of labels. We must have forgot to stick them on there. But just to make sure everybody's got one, I'll do it again.
And the
then-
special notices to the churches and schools, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll do those. I'll try and get those out tomorrow. We'll try and get those back in the mail tomorrow. And then we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Okay.
Ed, appreciate your patience on this. We just want to make sure that everything is good to go and we
I want the
start you off
same.
on the right foot.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it too, Margaret. Peg, it's we're not in a hurry. We just want to make sure all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed as well. So it's we didn't even realize there was a license available until we already bought the store, but will make a huge impact for us in terms of profitability.
Good.
And it's pretty convenient to have that in the center.
Very good.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely see you again in a couple weeks with Peg's question and answer session, and that Scott and Chris will have some too, I'm sure.
All righty, very good.
Awesome.
right.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate you.
Thank
Good
you very
night.
much. All right, have a good evening. Yep.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so Margaret, it's a wee bit before 7:45. Do we want to start the joint meeting with FinCom and Capital Planning? I see multiple people in attendance.
Because you have a joint meeting posted for 7:45, I would suggest holding off on that.
Okay.
Maybe you want to take up the draft policies and procedures
right.
first.
Absolutely. Well, how about two littler ones? Can we scoot down to new business? Because those probably won't take time.
Okay.
All right, so the new business, the first one on the agenda is the special event approval, 2021 Bicycles Battling Cancer on September 25th of 2021. So have there been any objections, comments, approvals, we're all good from all the departments?
The only missing
we got
review
thumbs up.
is from Highway. That's the only one that didn't respond, understandably so.
Yep.
But you've gotten reviews from Board of Health, Police, Fire, and Building Commissioner. So you've got all the others.
Mary?
Traditionally, Dave hasn't had a problem with it, and he kind of defers a little bit more to Chief Galvin.
Okay.
And so both your chiefs are good with it.
So I would make a motion to approve.
I would second.
Excellent. Motion and a second. No other further questions? So, Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. Approval for the 2021 Bicycles Battling Cancer, late September. Awesome. Great cause. Next under new business is to appoint Robert Wheeler as a full-time member of the Earthworks Advisory Committee. I know that Bob's been, sitting in for a little while, listening in, helping out as requested. There was a meeting, oh God, Margaret and I were there. Last month?
June
month and a half?
21st.
Yeah. Wow, that was a while ago.
Doesn't feel it.
No, not at all. So they were all in favor of appointing Bob to, as a full-time Earthworks guy. So didn't know if Chris or Scott, you had any questions?
No, he's a good, he should.
He's good. I'm glad
Yeah.
to happy to have him on helping out.
Absolutely. All right. Motion, did we get a motion? Did I miss it?
So moved.
There you go. All right.
Second.
Motion and a second. No other questions? Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. If you're out there listening, we appreciate all that you do for the town. Okay. Margaret, so I'm going to skip up to old business. We still have 3 minutes to go on the. Do we need to hold off? Do we need to make this our next meeting on the vote to sign the contract, given the NOI and other items with Concom, or is there something that we can do?
Yeah, you can do that. You can hold on that until after our pre-construction site visit tomorrow morning. I'll have more information on it then.
Okay, so I'll put that.
Is that the Nocella? Are you
Yes.
talking about? Okay.
Yeah. And in addition, they are working on getting their payment bond together and their certificate of insurance. So we're still waiting on that. So no problem.
All right. So I'll head into the agenda and just basically copy that on for the 23rd under new business.
Is it something that we could vote? Is it just something that Peg signs? Or
I
everybody?
think we have signature lines for everyone on this one. Let me pull
Okay.
it up.
I just didn't know if we could do it contingent on something.
And you could do it contingent on receipt of the documents that they need to provide to us, and I guess it would have to be contingent on compliance with local permitting and notices. Because they have to file the NOI, from what I understand, prior to construction. So-
What is your preference? We could wait.
Let
I
me-
just didn't know if it was, a good idea, whether Nocella would want us to wait for 2 weeks.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and vote to sign contingent on receipt of the pay. I'll frame this in a motion. so I
Okay.
can say so moved. Contingent upon receipt of the 50% payment bond, of the certificate of insurance, W-9, and subject to their compliance with all local permitting and filing requirements. How's that?
So moved.
And so second.
There you go.
And-
Well played, Chris. Well played.
Well, sometimes,
I know.
it's difficult for,
I know.
businesses to wait and us, but this way, then you can just let us know when it's ready to be signed.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
You wanna
So
take a
motion,
vote?
So a motion and a second. So I'll start. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. Yep, let us know when we all need to come down and we'll all head down. All right, so with that, we have moved to 7:45 to have our joint meeting with Finance Committee and Capital Planning Committee to discuss the 2008 Volvo loader repair proposal. So everyone, come on down to the panelists. Come on down. The price is right. You too can own a loader. All right. Good evening, Stan, Anna,
Good evening.
Janet, Julie.
Eloise is here too. I don't know
Is
if
she?
Sherry's
Oh, there
probably
she is.
still working on promoting everybody.
Okay. I'm gonna listen, but I got a little work problem going on, so I'm sorry.
Okay. No worries. All right. So we're
Oh,
all
and
here
June should, I want to
and promote June.
too.
All right, we are all present and accounted for. So Stan, since you have a quorum, do you want to open your meeting?
Absolutely. I would call the Finance Committee to order at 7:45, 46, whatever it is.
Close enough. Anna,
47, I guess it is now. Wow.
There
Time
you go.
flies when you're having fun.
Yep.
Anna, is it just you for capital planning?
It's me and Janet and Eloise. So technically we have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Ask you to open your meeting as well.
So I will call capital planning to order today at 7:47.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
just nail it right on the top.
That's
Okay.
It's right on the bottom
Yeah.
of my computer.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Wow.
yeah, okay. Show 'em.
Stan, if you want, I'll make you go last to close it so you can have a different time than Anna.
No,
All
no,
good.
that's fine. I'm
All
good.
right, so,
I'm content in ignorance, don't worry.
okay. So Miss Margaret or Miss June, do we want to go through your, for the folks in the audience, just kind of give like a quick summary of what's going on and what's being proposed and what are options?
I will go ahead and do that. I think everyone has a copy of the proposal. On this proposal, I did consult with Jim Spinney of the Highway Department and June on this proposal. This was not easy, given the fact that there is a cost to it. However, the reason this proposal has come forward is because the loader is currently in the possession of a repair facility, and they have requested that the town make a decision on repair versus removing that piece of equipment from that repair facility, which may have to happen anyway because we have to go through the procurement process. Anyway, what we're looking for is a decision on what to do with the 2008 Volvo loader that the transmission has failed and it requires a transmission repair. Jim Spinney has also noted that there are some smaller ancillary repairs that should happen while the loader is at a repair facility. Now, the transmission failed at the very end of FY21, which is why you're all here today, because this all happened after town meeting, after the capital plan was prepared and we were preparing to dispose of the 2002 Volvo loader rather than take any other measures. The brand new loader has been delivered to the Highway Department. Currently, the Highway Department has 3 loaders in its possession. The intent is still to sell the 2002 loader, which is making some sort of a clunking noise, I guess, is to still sell that to a qualified reseller and allow the Highway Department to keep the 2008. I know some say it's a 2007, but it was actually purchased in 2008. Keep the 2008 and the brand new loader, with the 2008 being a backup to the new loader. So I don't know, Peg, you want me to get into the proposal? Or you want to have the groups just start discussing what everybody here would like to do?
I mean, Stan, Anna, Janet, Julie, June, Eloise, I think I got everybody. Are there any types of general questions that you have on the proposal that Margaret has laid out?
Well, I have a question. The proposal is fine, but don't we need to get 3 quotes if we're going to spend that amount of money on a repair?
Yes, I say that in the proposal, Janet. I
Oh,
mentioned
I'm
that in the
sorry. I was
proposal.
probably.
That's okay. That's
trying- I'm
okay.
trying to multitask.
We have a lot going on. Yes.
I do. I got COVID and anyways, yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, yep, that's noted in the proposal. We recognize that procurement would have to be done.
Stan, Anna?
Well,
Julie?
so I guess at the finance committee meeting, we talked a little bit about the fact that the 2002 is actually running maybe better than the 2008, or that the highway department actually likes the 2002 model better than they like the 2008. So I don't know if we should be trying to factor that into our decision, but I mean, it certainly makes the most sense to dispose of the oldest one. So it seems to me that we ought to be disposing of 2002 and fixing 2007. That's kind of my general take on this, or 2008.
Do we have any idea of the trade-in values of 2002 versus 2008 in its current condition?
I have not been able to get that information yet, no.
I don't disagree with Stan. It makes the most sense, I think, to get rid of the 2002. However, I wonder if there's more financial value in it than its 2008 unrepaired compatriot.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, that's a good point. And I mean, if the repair is, I'm sorry, what was it again, Margaret? What's our estimate on the repair?
It could be up to $50,000. The transmission is 38,000 something, but Jim noted that they
all?
wanted to do a couple of ancillary repairs.
My question is more the timing on how you do this. Because my understanding is we don't know how difficult it will be to procure the parts you need to do the repair. So would you want to hold off on getting rid of the 2002 until you had the 2008 back from the repair?
That's my intent, Julie, because I do believe that the highway department, it was back in 2002, by the way, that they started with 2 loaders, a primary and a backup.
yeah.
So just so you know, there's a long history here, but yes, I would absolutely propose that rather than leaving them with one single loader for any period of time.
Okay.
And the 2002 is running okay at this point.
That clunk could be very
Except,
expensive.
yeah, except for the clunking noises.
Oh,
I'm not a mechanic. Not a mechanic. I don't-
It'd be transmission too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
June,
Right, I
any comments from our town accountant on this? Or Eloise? Not to put you on the spot, but just want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to be heard.
No, I have to say, I agree with Margaret's proposal right now. I know that they, like Margaret said, they are using the 2002 at this point in time. But they're not really sure if it would last through a winter season, is I believe what Jim was saying. So that's why having the newer one, 2008, to be repaired would probably be a better idea. And then trading in or selling outright, because I think we got a trade-in value of approximately $12,000 for the 2008 as it is, I think, is what they had said. So I would say I would go along with the lines of outright selling the 2002 once the 8 is up and working. But again, I would say we still need to get the other quotes too, so.
So Margaret, next steps forward?
My proposal, okay, now I'll read options. The proposed option would be to repair the 08 loader by applying 50% of the funds from the FY22 snow and ice expense line which would leave a balance of about $60,000, which is highly likely to be fully expended or possibly overexpended during the winter months. That does happen on occasion. But the reason for the 50% from the snow and ice expense line is because this loader will be non-functional, actually not in our hands for the first 2 months of the fiscal year. So leaving 10 months and assuming that the winter months comprise 5 months of the year, that's why I proposed 50% from that, because they do use the loader in the winter for both on the road and in the yard during the winter. I also proposed 50%. I know that the Finance Committee historically has said use appropriations from expense lines first before tapping the reserve fund. So
Okay.
my proposal is that the Highway Department use funds from the highway expense line appropriation, understanding that there may be reserve fund transfer requests later in this fiscal year. So that is my proposal. I would urge the town to stay away from using Chapter 90 funds for repair of this equipment. I did, however, just for full disclosure, I did get confirmation from MassDOT that if needed, Chapter 90 could be used for it, but that also diverts that funding away from on the road or actual road work, road maintenance. So I would urge staying away from the use of Chapter 90 for that. I gave 3 different options, but I've read my preferred option in the proposal.
And then you need votes from all 3 committees?
Well, we need a vote for our committee and they probably want to make one too, right?
Oh, John, let me just promote John to Capital Planning Committee's quorum. He's here. Okay.
So, in speaking for finance, I would categorically say that yes, Margaret, we have said that we would strongly suggest that departments utilize the money that is currently in their budget until it is no longer. And I would say on this as well is that the idea is that they should be, I don't know how we word it to them or how it's made aware to them, but that they should be still trying to conserve that so that they don't rely on just automatically using the, not just treating it like, okay, we're just kicking the can down the road and we're going to definitely use all of reserve funds when we have to. So, I mean, the idea behind this is to still get them to try to save, try to cut, try to do other things to live within this budget. And that's why we do it this way, is so that we're trying to strongly encourage departments to be frugal when they do have a large unexpected expense and not just count on that expense being paid for completely through other means. We should be trying to save where we can in the budget this year and only go to the reserve fund for the difference. And maybe it's 30, maybe it's half, maybe it's a quarter, maybe it's a tenth, but we should be trying to save other places that we can. And I just want to make sure that they are aware of that and that it's not just moving it down the road, that it's actually, let's try to work within our budget as best we can and know that we have a safety net, but try not to use it if we can help it.
Yes, I appreciate that feedback, Stan. And I was aware of that, and I suspected that you would have those comments. And I just want to add that over these past 2 years, where things have been particularly difficult, I have to say that we've done really, really well, especially this past year, steering clear of the reserve fund, living within our budgets. And I do hope also that continues, and I'll be sure they're aware of that.
Yes, thank you.
Anna, any thoughts from capital planning?
Not from me. Any of my capital planning members have thoughts? Eloise or John?
Hi.
Hi,
Sorry for
John.
being late. I couldn't log in.
Yeah, join the club, John.
All right. So select board, I suppose we can go first. Are there any motions to be made on Margaret's recommendations? Zishan?
I would make a motion to support Margaret's recommendation.
And that Margaret's recommendation is coming from highway expenses, not from, the 50% is coming from highway expenses, not from reserve, correct?
That is correct.
I will second that motion.
Any other further discussion? All right, put it to a vote. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
All right, 3-0 support for your recommendation. All right, Mr. Stan, we'll make finance go next.
Do I have a motion, Finance Committee?
Motion to approve Margaret's #1 suggestion.
I think you have to unmute, Janet, if I can get a second out of you, if you're okay with
I was trying to give you my thumbs up, but my thumb wasn't in the
it. Screen.
screen. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, do we have any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote, Stan, aye.
Janet, I.
Julia, I.
So FinCom approves 3-0 as well.
Excellent. Thank you, FinCom people. We appreciate it. Anna, saving the best for last.
Oh,
Hey, no.
Hey.
I wanted to say, I just meant I wanted to say it, that's all.
Capital planning, do we have a motion on the table? Anyone?
I don't think, can I make the motion? I think I can't. Can I I don't think I can. It has to be
No.
John or Eloise.
On Eloise. Make a motion to approve. Can I suggest this? To approve Margaret's #1 suggestion?
So moved.
There you go, Eloise.
Thank you, Eloise. Any comments or concerns?
Yeah, you need a second.
Oh,
I second that. How's that?
okay. Now any comments or concerns? No.
Just let us know when it's done.
So roll call vote, Anna Crane, aye.
Eloise Sauls, aye.
Aye.
You got to say your name.
John Mavretic. I vote yes.
Great.
Jan Lamy,
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
Jan.
We'll
Yep.
get on the procurement next. Thank you.
All right,
You're welcome.
so
So we have to close our
I know,
meetings.
yes, you do. So Anna, we'll let you go
I get-
first.
Yay. So I'm going to close, I'm going to adjourn capital planning now at this time at 8:03 p.m.
Second.
Do we have to make a motion to close
Yeah,
our?
I was gonna say, Janet, you
I'll
generally do.
make my
it well.
motion to close our meeting. Julie,
At
that's
8:03.
Finance Committee.
All right, thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Appreciate you being here. Have a great
Good
night.
night, thank
Guys, have a
you.
good
Bye-bye.
night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
If the selectmen you don't get to end our meeting? Wait a minute. Everyone else gets
Yeah, we get to go. Bye.
No, 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 no.
No.
Board's-
No,
board
that's
has
why
to
you get the
stay.
big bucks, Scott. That's all right.
Yeah. 32 cents a day, Stan. Don't be jealous. All right. So we are moving into old business. First one up is to review and approve the mobile food vendor policy and procedures that I know is in our drive that I just had up that I can't find. There you go.
We were waiting on 2 more reviewers with feedback, and we received both of those today. Neither one had concerns. So we have received all the feedback
Awesome.
requested from local reviewers.
Right.
I think, can't remember, it was Friday. Peg, you asked about fee schedule, and I also noted application. So once the select board approves the policies and procedures, we will then look to other towns for fee schedules, and we will also refer to the fire department on proposed fees. And we will draft up an application that makes complete sense and actually tracks the local review process.
Awesome. Are there any additional comments and questions, Scott or Chris?
No,
No?
All right, we get a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Excellent. All right, hearing no other comments or questions, Stone Eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
There you go, Margaret.
Okay, thank you. So we'll be up in the near future with a proposed fee schedule that the board will have to adopt and approval of the application too. Thank you.
All right, moving down to review and approve the town administrator annual evaluation process. Chris, Scott, any questions?
No, I think Margaret just made a couple of changes, which were just fine.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Hawkins, you good?
No,
Or
it's
are
all
you
fine.
looking? Okay.
I'm actually looking at them all again to make sure that I didn't
Mm,
miss anything in my notes.
all right.
I can make a motion to approve if you'd like.
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second,
All right, and hearing no other questions or comments, Stone Eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
There you go, Margaret. We're 2 for 2.
Oh,
with a-
boy. Oh,
I know, chugging it through. You know what? We're on a time here. You know, I keep looking at the clock.
We're doing great on time.
All right. Third up under old business is to review and approve the select board agenda procedure.
Peg, you had something here. I think I left a board of selectmen in here from the
Yeah.
old version. I fixed that.
Okay.
And I answered questions, I think, in the red line in the folder. You had some questions and I just answered those questions, but didn't make any
Yep.
changes. They were just
Okay.
answers.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Scott, Chris?
All
Yeah.
good.
Motion to approve.
Second,
There you go. Hearing no other comments, questions, Stone Eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
Look at that, 3 for 3. All
Woo-hoo!
right.
Woo-hoo!
Wow. All right, now comes the big one.
Yeah,
Yeah, dun, dun, dun.
the next two are not going to go nearly as fast.
No, they're not. They're not.
Oh, who knows? It just might. You never know.
All right. As I drop my pen, I will disappear from screen. So remove, and approve. Ooh, that's a Freudian slip. Review and approve the town administrator goals and objectives. Ed,
So you want me to
Oh, go ahead.
to
Yeah.
this a little bit? I've just had asked Margaret to, talk with me about what her feeling was on the ranking of the goals and objectives from the top tier. So we talked a little bit about each one and I mean, unless you two have disagreement on the ranking, I mean, I generally agree with Margaret because we already talked about it, but I guess I'm looking for input from the two of you.
This is column 1 that has a number in it now.
Yes.
I was, from the administrator's standpoint, I want to add to what Chris was saying. From the administrator's standpoint, I have no choice but to look at what is achievable.
Yeah.
And I want to be sure that what we've got proposed is achievable. And we can make progress, at least on the short term, the FY 2022 measures. So, and some of these things, as you know, are much longer term, but.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was, I think 2 of them at least would take a lot longer that we talked about.
Yeah, and I also think a couple of them that have ranked a little lower aren't necessarily as much the town administrator as some of us on the select board pushing the committees that might be more responsible to them to do some things on it. So
That's true.
I have no problem with the priority ranking. I'm sure if I blindly did my own sort of 1 to 12, I might have come up with some slightly different numbers, but I don't think I would do anything that was substantial. There was nothing that was high in your list that would be low in mine, or something that would have been lower on the list that would have been high on mine. So I'm fine with it.
And it doesn't mean that, the, top 5 or the top 10,
Yep.
the rest are off the table. It just means they're on the radar. It
Right.
doesn't mean they may get accomplished anyway.
And although I believe there should be a substantial overlap between the town administrator's goals and objectives and the select board goals and objectives, I don't think everything that is important to the town needs to fall to the town administrator. There is things that we as select board members should be working on and things that other town committees should be working on. And even
Yeah,
at some department heads be working.
There certainly could be.
So that's why I also think the ones that are higher on the list are ones I think are more in the realm of what the town administrator should be working on, could be working.
Agreed. I mean, if you scoot all the way down and go from bottom up and you look at the goals and objectives, the opportunities for seniors, we can work with the Council on Aging. We know that, rec is pushing to acquire the $30,000 from the cultural funds, plus put forth CPA money. They have the town behind them, fix the courts. I drove by today and didn't realize how many cracks and grass was actually growing.
Terrible.
Ready for hay.
there. Yeah. Yeah. The CPR class, we mentioned it to Chief Clark. So he's well aware of that, and community and civic engagement, we're trying, get some more ideas out there to get folks involved, for that. So those are all, to me, 27 through the bottom are things that we can do. The three of us can continue to push with
Right.
with our various committees and overlap. Margaret, do you have any concerns on line 4 through 13? I mean, some of them, we organize the town offices, they're almost
You
done.
mean the things that are in process?
Yeah.
These are just things that we are already working on. I expect, for example, let's take a look at the Berlin Memorial School lease agreement. That's been in administration's hands, and I just spoke with Bob Conry today about the status of that, and I'd like them to review. He wants to have the school committee review at their very next meeting, so we talked about that. But I fully expect that the lease agreement will be finalized this fiscal year. So I think these are things that we can check off, as we go. I will look to the select board to discuss a funding policy for the food pantry and other options. Now that you have a budget line, the board is a policy board. So I would like the board's feedback on where that money in that budget line is going to be allocated. These are things that we're already working on, and I expect to check a lot of these off the list by the end of the fiscal year.
All right. Should we, on these, Margaret, should we, once we start to swing back to weekly meetings in a mere 3 weeks, should we, I know. Hello, goodbye, Summer. Thank you for showing up for a week. Should we just kind of have this as a rotating item at the end of every month, just as a check-in so it doesn't fall off anybody's radar? Would you be all right with that?
I don't know about every month.
Members.
Yeah, I don't know about every month, maybe
every quarter,
every quarter, or every other month, or especially if something important comes up to do with one of these, then, I'm sure Margaret would give us something in the TA report.
Yeah, I would still like it to be every month. It doesn't have to be more than it. Some months might just be a minute or two, like there really isn't anything big or new to say. And some months will be a little bit bigger if any one of us think, hey, I think one of these is beginning to fall off a radar. Is there something we can do to kick it? And so I think keeping it as an agenda item under old business once a month, recognizing that some months it will be a 30-second item. Really, there's nothing more to say. We just want to make sure things are still on glide paths.
And these will be on my TA report too. So there might be some duplication, but if there's anything that's highlighted during this agenda item, that would be
cool. All right. So what about the top tier goals, Margaret? And some of those are underway as well. And some Route 62 corridor. Well, that's not going to be fixed anytime soon. I mean,
the one thing that really needs attention here on the Route 62 corridor, for example, is we need to determine how we are going to programmatically fund design engineering for any infrastructure projects, not just sidewalks, not just the complete streets plan, but any infrastructure projects. Not only is it necessary to get a project started, it's absolutely necessary to receive grant funding for projects. So we do have to look, I look at our use of free cash guidelines, and I don't see why we cannot begin to allocate some funds toward this, whether we expand the whole idea of appropriating capital monies every year to hot top, expand it to hot top and infrastructure design engineering or something like that. But we've got to set aside some funds at some point for this. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm picking out one at a time here.
That's
but
fine.
Everything has a little bit of work
Yep.
ahead on it.
Okay. All right. So Chris, would you be?
If I could say,
looking-
if we continue to pick one at a time, the Bullard House, we were talking originally about using some of the remaining funds that they had for curb repeal and doing some painting. And
Mhm.
instead, we're going to be using some of the remaining funds to structurally secure the building by doing the sills. I think that's way more important. I was very happy to think that we could do that project within existing funds. And the fact that we have managed to get an RFQ ready before, because what's been happening at the Bullard House is a serial thing. You know, you wait till part of it was totally done before you start thinking about what's the next project.
Yeah.
And they're now to the point where we're doing RFQs before this project is completed.
Yeah.
The projects won't overlap tons. That's why you can do this. But we might have some work on that this fall still. So it makes me excited.
Yep.
So
So-
Chris, go ahead.
What were you going to ask me, Peg?
Are you comfortable and are you good to perhaps make a motion on this one?
Well, I wanted to first ask you all if the number of them in that section you felt was too much for one person to handle, and maybe we just say the top 5. Or, well, I just wanted to hear, what you thought about that.
I think it's ambitious, but I don't see any one of those that really should drop
Come
out.
off.
I mean, those
Yeah.
things all really need to have some progress in this coming year.
But
Yep.
as top priority, I guess is what I'm saying. Or would you prefer just to say, okay, the section of the top tier select board goals and objectives?
I like the section, and now that we have sort of a ranking on them,
Okay,
I think that ranking works well by me.
Yep.
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and again, as we've said, some of these they're in process. So I don't think that I'm looking at them, nobody is starting from scratch.
Right.
On these, the Meta grant, that's moving forward, the Bullard House is moving forward, facilities, the town buildings, looking at that. Dennis rather is all over, tax taking properties, you've got Anna and her crew on the capital planning, so.
Delegate, delegate, delegate.
No,
And
partner,
also
no,
understand-
partner.
I mean, if we
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at,
I'm
if-
talking to Margaret.
if we
yes,
look at the Tolman property to see how long that was an issue before it was finally resolved or before it's really on its way to being resolved, some of these things aren't going to happen overnight. Some of these
I
things
know.
won't be
Absolutely.
finished by the end of 22, but we can make progress on them.
Yes.
Right, and that's why the column that says short-term goals is that, we're not going to have Route 62 done in a year, but if we
No.
have some functioning where we
Yeah.
think money's going to come from, that puts us in a better position to do things as opportunities present themselves.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So I would just make a motion then to approve the top tier goals and objectives
With their ranking.
with the ranking.
with the ranking.
Yep, I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Not hearing any. Put it to a vote. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
Excellent. And Margaret, I reiterate what Chris says. I have said to you from the very beginning, I do not view your position as a dump and run. Oh, look, Margaret's here. She can do it. She can do it. No, that's why the 3 of us are here. So if you need our help, we're all a phone call away.
I won't be shy. And I think you know how I work by now.
Absolutely.
I can manage a lot, but yes, I do need input from stakeholders, especially the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
And support. I mean, I think
Yes.
in general, we want to support you and any other of our employees. I think we
Correct.
all need
Yeah,
to
thank you.
support them all.
Okay.
And Margaret, think about it. Think about your first goals and objectives list. That was like a CVS receipt. It went on for about 6 feet.
It was 3
You know-
pages, but you know what? It's great to have that. I look back at it now and I think, I look at
Done?
it and I say,
Yeah.
that's off, that's off, that's off, that's
Good.
off.
Yep.
That's what we
Yep.
need to see.
And the others are all probably in process, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that one wasn't too bad.
Right.
So moving on to Scott's favorite subject, discuss a possible fall 2021 special town meeting.
Okay.
I like the proposed timeline. It makes me believe we could do it.
Yeah, and so speaking of rankings, some of the most important things that are included on this list of potential town meeting articles really do need attention. The River Bridge Development Agreement might be one that we absolutely need to bring some proposed modifications to town meeting, depending on agreement between the two parties. That's one. Another is the bylaws that we've listed here to try to resolve those. Those are, and I know that there's some folks feel maybe bylaws should wait until the annual town meeting. That's fine too. But if the board wants to consider doing something about the annual town report, some components of that would be able to be effective before the annual town meeting next year. And then there is the community preservation. So the Community Preservation Committee is going to be holding a hearing on August 25th. And if they approve the plan following that hearing, folks will be able to apply for funds from the Community Preservation Fund for projects. Conservation and Recreation, as you know, have a couple of projects that they have prioritized. So it could be an opportunity to bring forth some early community preservation project proposals.
I mean, I think there's enough items as we're having a special town meeting. I think the date of November 8th works. I think I would suggest that we bring any bylaw amendment that is ready to be discussed and voted on forward, just because I think anything we take care of the special town meeting is just that much shorter than general town meeting is going to be, more
Right.
likelihood to get it done in one night. I know anytime we open a town meeting warrant, there can be petitions, and that could make our nice compact 12 agenda item meeting, twice as big and longer and more complicated than we were hoping, but I'm fine opening that can of worms.
Well, then I'm going to open a larger can of worms on this one. I'll promise to duck and appear off screen after I say it, but with the variant and the other nasty other variant that's whizzing around, do we need to have any type of potential backup, like a plan B? I can't imagine that you'd want an outside meeting at 7 o'clock in November. It could get very, very chilly. So it kind of defeat the purpose. Don't know what schools or buildings will allow if COVID rears its ugly head in our area. So thoughts, comments?
You made a good point, Peg.
I think all the more reason
to
to announce one now, so we have time to work through some of those. I still think we could pull the plug on it as late as the day before if somehow things continue to get worse. I think we'll have regular weekly meetings where we can advertise. I think we could even, when we make the motion, assuming it's not happening tonight, if we make the motion to have it, even include what we think some of those triggers would be. If Berlin is in a red district more than 2 weeks before the meeting, we will cancel. I mean, so that people who are doing planning on it can see this is going in a trend that it looks like it's going to get canceled, or it's going in a trend where this looks like it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
There's also time to look at alternate venues. So the bylaw allows the town to hold a town meeting at Tohoto or at Assabet, or we have other options here, potentially like use of the fire bays, for example, and actually bring in equipment to provide additional heating for, exposed spaces. So
Yeah,
is optional.
that's true. We were thinking about doing that at the fire
Yeah.
base
Mhm.
previously, and I have two heaters I can volunteer. 2 outdoor heaters.
So I know we really don't hold a coffee talk in summer just because no one's really around. Do we potentially propose one for end of September, early October, so that we can start to get
Don't we have
word?
one on the calendar? I think we do.
Do we?
September 16th,
Okay,
Thursday,
all right.
September 16th, you've got coffee talk.
Okay.
Okay. And is that it until January then, or is there another one?
So
That's it till January.
if we decide to do this town meeting, special town meeting, I would push that off because I wouldn't want to do a coffee talk a
Right.
week before we open the warrant and
Yep.
2 weeks or 3 weeks before we actually close the warrant. I'd almost want to do it the whatever the week is after the 4th, and potentially have a week where we do both a coffee talk and a select board meeting.
So the week of the 4th or the week, is there a holiday in October?
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. It's the 11th. So you were scheduled to meet on October 12th. Maybe you could just change that to Thursday, October 14th.
And do a coffee talk then?
Yeah,
Okay,
that makes sense.
all right.
What was the date again? October 14th?
October 14th.
I'm gone the 13th through 20th, but that's fine.
Oh, you are?
You can do a coffee talk without me. You're gonna do it'll be a meeting without me.
Scott, we're gonna take a picture of you and like stick it up on a desk.
And that one I won't be able to Zoom from, even if it's a Zoom thing.
All right. Well, we'll just wiggle your picture back and forth like you're talking, so we're all good. Okay. All right, so Margaret, are you looking for any type of, where'd my agenda go? Any type of approval motion on this tonight?
No. It's
a
really
chat?
just
Okay.
really just to keep the discussion going. So this should be an ongoing
Okay,
discussion at the board's meetings under old business.
Right, although, again, I go back to, if we're really planning on doing this, the sooner we announce it, the sooner people can make
plans.
their own both plans to attend, but, you know, the CPA and other committees can start like preparing warrant articles, so they know the window that they have to go within.
So the
I
board,
want to go much beyond next meeting to actually declare we're going to do it or not.
I put a date of September 20th where the board could actually open the warrant and announce closure on Monday, October 4th, but you could actually open the warrant prior to September 20th. You know, you could do that.
Okay,
Are we allowed to announce that we're going to have a town meeting in November and that we will open the warrants on September 20th?
Sure, yes.
Just
You
that.
can do that, just, yeah, and just take
The
action.
more planning we can give people,
Right.
the more, the COVID stuff is still a daily moving target. And Peg made some good points that I at least want to contemplate. So I don't think I want to make that motion tonight.
Yeah,
But I think I want us to get us ready to make it relatively soon. And I think it's easy. I mean, anyone who's watching this and in the circles we travel in, that the town is thinking of having one on November 8th, and we're going to make the decision probably
Yeah.
in the next couple of weeks.
you know, it's, if the town can't have a town meeting, we do have some high priority things here. However, it's not, it wouldn't be fatal. If the town meeting couldn't happen on November 8th, it would not stop the town
Right.
from operating. It would mean that everything is shifted to the spring. These things.
Right.
And delayed.
Mary, I see you have your hand up. Is that because Janet has her hand up? All right. Janet, if you could keep it brief.
I just was gonna say, I'm chuckling at Scott because all of us that are listening already know you're planning to do this. But my point was, I think I would reach out to the venues that you're talking about potentially utilizing, only because I know that we did not allow anybody in our buildings because of the restrictions. So even though you're thinking you might be able to use them, you might want to reach out and say, will you allow that large volume of people to come in, only because of all the cleaning that has to go on with it. So while you're in your planning process, I was just trying to have you be proactive.
Okay.
Definitely take that into account.
All right. All right. Excellent discussion on that. So Margaret, what I'll do is I'll drop this on our agenda for next week weeks, 2 weeks as well. Okay. Oh, look at that. I almost skipped this over. So Margaret, update on the earthwork permit for the homes at Highland Ridge.
So we've done a lot of work on this. The board had required, the board had a couple of questions that I have received answers on. First of all, on those questions, the board had asked how much material had already been trucked into the site approximately, and approximately how much more material is going to be brought to the site. So Brian Clark, the project manager, came in and said, as it stands now, they've trucked in approximately 25,000 yards of material. And they have approximately another 500 more truckloads coming in. Well, not knowing what a truckload means, I asked him to follow up and asked what the equivalent yardage is. And he said approximately 15,000 yards still to be brought in. Now, with regard to the performance bond, I have consulted with our building commissioner and our insurance carrier, and proposed an alternative to the developer, an alternative to the performance bond to the developer. Our insurance carrier recommended, let's see, a 5-year products completed operations aggregate of $2 million to extend beyond the contract period. The contract period defined as the completion of earthwork activity on the site as certified by the developer, completion of the activity. So what we have received at this point, I can't say it's fully satisfactory because we do not have a 5-year products completed operations aggregate of 2 million. We have a 2-year at this point. So I do need to follow up with the developer and ask for the 5-year aggregate. So I can't say that this is fully completed yet. We need the policy expiration to read 2026 as opposed to 2023 or 2025 if they can certify when the earthwork activity began. So they're part of the way there, but we do need an extended, we do need a longer policy expiration on this.
Okay. Was there anything else that we had requested? How much in? I know that there's been some concerns that I've heard about speeding of the trucks up and down the hill. I mean, has that been addressed?
It should be being addressed with increased police patrols. The sign, the new signboard should also be placed up there if Highway has had a chance to put it up there.
Yep.
I can't say that I've been up the road and I don't know if it's there right now. If it's not, I'll ask Highway to move the sign up there.
Last time I think I went through the center of town, the giant blinky sign was like, here's Jane Sawyer's garden. It's like right there, right on Pleasant. So I don't know if it's still there. I think that was yesterday I went through.
Okay. And I don't know what the message was, if it was for seasonal workers, but yeah, I will ask Jim and Fred to move the sign on Highland Street that announces the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit for trucks.
Okay. All right, so I'll just move this out for an additional update in 2 weeks, Margaret.
So Margaret and I were at a meeting at 19 Carter, I think maybe a week or so ago. And I said, look out the window, Margaret. There's the trucks. And they were crawling.
Were they really?
They were going about 15 miles an hour.
All right.
So,
good.
You know,
Can't guarantee it's happening with only the ones we saw.
Right.
And I know Anna is still on the meeting, so she would know firsthand. So, but we will get the signboard up there as a reminder for them.
All right.
And I'll follow up with the developer again to see if we can get an extended period of time on that. Anna's hand is up.
Okay.
Hello again.
Hi, Anna.
Hi. Of course, I want to interject.
So today I got to follow a Russo truck up the hill at 32 miles an hour, untarped. So it was a dump truck with a load that was taller than the bed, so they couldn't tarp it. And we have not seen the blinky sign on Highland Street at all.
That's because we weren't watching, Anna. That's why they were going a little faster.
Oh, yeah, untarped. I'm going to,
Untarped.
I'll notify.
I also was run off the road literally by a flat semi-trailer with a flatbed with a man lift on it. But it was coming from the north. It was coming from Bolton down Highland Street in the middle of the road. And I don't know where it was going. So I'm not willing to say that it was a Highland Ridge vehicle, but it was very fast and in the middle of the road.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Margaret, at some point, do we have to revisit, didn't we make an agreement with Bolton about Wattaquatic Hill? I just love saying Wattaquatic.
I know.
And then coming
I think
through
we
town.
did. No.
Yes, truck
Did
route.
we?
The truck route.
But I thought it kind of fell through because Clinton wouldn't agree.
Clinton wasn't agreeing, and that was between Clinton and Bolton. I don't know if it all fell through. I know Berlin gave a letter of support, so I
Okay.
can follow up with Bolton to find out about that. Yeah, I can do that.
I think Chief Galvin might even know.
Yeah. Because I just didn't know, where Anna had said that she's not knowing where trucks are coming from. If they're scooting off 495 and blowing through Berlin, maybe we need to revisit, because I'm going to say it one more time, Wattaquatic Hill, and what we can do. Okay.
All right, Anna, I'm going to follow up with Chief Galvin on this.
If I can interject one more thing, the Berlin police has been exceedingly busy on Highland Street, and it's been fantastic. We've been timing them. They're averaging about 5 minutes between pulling cars over. It's been fantastic.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, it's not like they haven't been warned, so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, Anna, keep us posted if you see any, untarped trucks whizzing up by your house and especially for your safety. You want to make sure that all the folks in town are taken care of.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all your concern.
You betcha. All right. So we'll have an update in a couple weeks. So then moving on, we're at 8:37, tick, tick, tick. We are down to boards, questions, comments, and liaison updates. Chris, get you to go first.
All right. I went to the Council on Aging meeting, the 27th of July. It wasn't a whole heck of a lot, but they had that Seacoast Stompers concert, which they will have to reschedule because of the heat. And I think it was my understanding that then they're going to also schedule a Teddy Roosevelt.
Yes, a Teddy Roosevelt impersonator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were going to reach out to Recreation for ideas that they can coordinate together. And Margaret, was there something else that you were going to work on for or with Victoria from that meeting?
Victoria is actually working on, this is tied into the board's goals and objectives. Victoria has been assigned to do a larger plan indicating all kinds of programs and services that could be reflective of increased services to our seniors. And Victoria will be, so she's talking with Council on Aging about this, and she'll be willing to talk with the select board in the coming month or so. She'll be able to kind of give you an overview of what she's come up with. She's gathered all kinds of data and program and activity information.
Okay, so then the next meeting will be August 31st. That was it.
All right.
All I got.
Mr. Hawkins?
I'm good. The questions I had, I worked into the meeting.
Okay. I just had a few. So the energy, I was part of the MEI training, Massachusetts something Institute. There you go. Anyways, wow, what a boatload of information that we have out there on energy use in this town, whether it's by building, fire, EMS, fuel usage. So there's a bunch of information that we can look out there that I think we need to keep an eye on to help us with our green community standards. So I've offered to share what I have with the Energy Committee. Giant shout out to Amy and June for gathering lots of data, even in terms of account numbers. Are they correct in there? So I've got a lot of work to do on that, but lots of things to look at, talk about, take a dart and just throw it and pick one and we'll go from there. I think one thing that as budget season starts to approach, and I know that we're all going to have fun with that, maybe something for all our noggins, is to start to think about some type of admin position that can support multiple committees in town. We know that volunteering is getting tough, and the people who always volunteer are the people who always volunteer. So I don't know if there's an opportunity, for people to think about, and obviously we're going to need to loop in finance. We're going to need to loop in personnel as well, to bring potentially somebody in to help with, note taking, minute things, bills. I probably, if you poll just about every committee in town, they would say, yes, we need some type of admin help. So wanted to throw that out there to start you thinking noggin. And along the lines of grants, Margaret was kind enough to share with me a mere 90,000 bazillion page document on the ADA self-evaluation for the town. And we've got quite a bit of work to do. But the nice thing is that there are grants out there. Grants opened the 2nd of this month and they closed the beginning of October. Multiple buildings have issues, but there are also multiple small things that we can win on, that we can focus on. Think about the dump. We've all gone to the dump. Has anybody seen a designated parking area or two for handicap parking? Nope. Do we need it? Yep. So it's things like that. It's audio assisted listening devices. Do we need them? Yep. Do we have them? Nope. Do they qualify under the grant? Probably. So it's small things like that. I'm looking at probably about $25,000, which really, if you compare costs of either ADA compliant for the bullet house, ADA compliant for the school with the bleachers that aren't ADA compliant, and you look at the library. So I'm starting small to see what we can do, and obviously picking items that are not a heavy load or a heavy drain on anybody or any department in town. So I will write those up. The fun thing about the grant is that if you write it, you basically have 20 minutes to finish it. If it doesn't finish in 20 minutes, it shuts you out and then you get to start again. So I'm going to put everything in a Word document, send it to Margaret. She'll make it all pretty, and then I'm just going to cut and paste and go. And as it chugs along, I will definitely share with the group. But wanted to tell you that is that's where I'll be heads down for a little while, is to try and get proposals in for that grant money to come back to the town.
So are you going to bring the grants that you want to apply for to us first?
Yeah, and we can take a look at them. And actually, I can send you the document that Margaret had shared with me and tell you which ones I'm looking at.
You can get to that document by going to our main page on the website, and under government, click ADA.
Okay.
That's where it's located. Okay.
All right. Yep. And I'll send the areas around that I'm looking at, because if you look at some of the costs involved with ADA complying, I've just made that a verb. The library, you're looking at $700,000. If you're looking at, the bullet house, you're looking at well over $300,000. So I'm thinking, let's try to focus in on the town offices, because that's where we seem to congregate more, with fire and police there. There's some small things there that we can do. Also town hall, as we need to have some items there to bring more and more people, to events there. So that's why I'm thinking start small, accomplish it, and then when it opens up again next year, guess what? That's when we start for the high dollar items. But happy to share.
Some of them are
easy.
No, I mean, some of them might be matching grants. Some of them
Yeah.
might be that, maybe another town could probably benefit
Mm-hmm.
more than we could.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking if you're going to bring the
Mm-hmm.
specific grants to the board to, give our blessing or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the really nice thing about the ADA document, it's got prices and it's got steps and it's got all the information. So it's going to be called revise, cut, paste, attach the document, off it goes. So no, definitely happy to share those. I think there were like 4 or 5 of
Well,
them.
I mean, in a manner in which, before you do all the work.
Yep.
Yep.
No, happy to send it out.
Yeah, tell us which one you're choosing, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, there's the one, well, it's several that I want to use, but I'll lay all those out for you guys in an email.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Okay.
All right, so
Would
look
you
at
like
that.
to-
Yes, we have 14 minutes to spare. I'd like a motion so Mr. Scott can be on his way.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
I second.
Boom chakalaka, Stone Eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
Safe flight home, Scott. See you in a couple weeks.